Welcome back, you guys. This is Riley here with Learn With Me, and today you're going to learn how to make sourdough pizza dough. This is an exceptional pizza recipe, and with constant repetition, you should be able to master this pizza recipe in no time. As you see on the screen, I'm going to include some ingredients as far as this process goes, but I'm going to also start to process these ingredients while I'm discussing them. To get started, you're going to mix 1 cup of sourdough starter, 2 cups of warm water, and 6 tablespoons of olive oil together in a jar. I say to mix it in a jar so that you can put a lid on and actually shake it up afterwards. I tend to find that to be a bit easier, and that's why I kind of added everything into the water as far as making the process a bit easier. Some other ingredients that you're going to need is going to be 4 teaspoons of salt and 4 2/3 cups of bread flour. Just for a little bit more information, this is an adaptation of a Spruce Eats recipe. It's titled The Simplest Sourdough Pizza Crust Recipe with the Perfect Chew. As you can see, I'm going nuts here, just rocking out with this sourdough starter mix concoction. And as you can see, there's plenty of bubbles there. Now we're going to go about mixing in some dry ingredients. I'm adding a few different things to the process. Like you'll see I hold up some Parmesan, some garlic powder, some salt. Like you can add like different herbs and different like spices and stuff like that to kind of mix it in. It won't throw it off too much. Just don't go adding like cups of product and stuff like that. And most importantly, make sure to mix it all in together, like before you add your liquid together, because that's just going to mess up your process. Make sure to mix up all the dry ingredients and make sure to mix up all the wet ingredients together. After that, you're going to want to combine them together. I like to combine my dough recipes, especially like the larger ones like this one, because this one's going to make a pretty good bit, maybe 6 pizza dough balls. I like to combine them into this like big measuring like square like cube. I got it at a thrift shop and I've seen it used multiple times for different baking things. As you can see, the process here is showing you just how the dough is starting to get a bit tough now. Like here, if it gets too sticky, you can add a little bit more flour. But overall, you're really just trying to work the dough here. Like I'm speeding this up, but you work the dough as much as you need to until you get it into a comfortable looking position. And then once you get it towards the end of the process, you can kind of leave it into a ball because like you're kind of just bringing it in and out. That's the goal that you want to do. And even though the ball will be kind of shaggy during the first process, you're going to do multiple different like waiting periods. Add a little olive oil to your dough ball and then cover it for 30 minutes as part of your next 2-hour 4-rotation dough rising cycles. All right, now check out this dough. You see how it's like kind of getting better and worked in? You want to give the dough some time to kind of work itself in. It still looks a bit shaggy, but we can make this work. So you want to work the dough a good bit, and then after you get done with it, go ahead and put it back in the box, in your box or container, and then go ahead and cover it for another 30 minutes. All right, look at that. It's still working itself a bit better. Still looking pretty good. But like I said, just kind of keep working it. Just kind of keep working that dough. Just kind of building it up. I'll put on the screen just some more reasoning of what it helps and stuff like that. It just kind of helps with the chewiness of the dough. I know that for a fact. Look at that. The dough will truly improve once you leave it overnight. So that is also an important process. So don't get too focalized on the first 2 turns and just not seeing the results that you're necessarily looking for. Like I said, your main goal here is to really get the dough worked in, get all the ingredients properly mixed in. And like right now, we are on at least the 3rd or 4th spin, but you are only required to necessarily kind of like work the dough 4 times. Like look how softer the dough looks. Like that's what you really are aiming for when you kind of move dough like that. You're really trying to get it as smooth as possible. That's when you know the dough is really working together and it develops a strength that it can hold together as it's it's baking, and will greatly improve your odds of making a decent pizza. All right, now we're approaching the last kind of turns. I didn't really do too many like visuals of the 4th turning, but I was able to get at least a close-up of the fifth one. Now, this one, you can really tell that the dough is coming together, and you can start seeing some air bubbles kind of develop on there. If you can get to your dough looking a little like this, then you are primed to let it sit and wait for the next day. And that's going to be the next step. After doing your 4 or 5 different cycling on and offs of 30 minutes on and then working the dough and 30 minutes off, you're going to let it sit for at least 3 to 6 hours and just kind of develop more of a strength. Like, look at this. Just exactly what you want. You want a smooth dough that kind of looks like it can kind of hold its own, but you don't want it to necessarily be dried out. I've definitely made that mistake, and do not feel bad about these type of processes. This is a learning process, and you will get better as you practice more. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave any comments, and I will follow up with you. All right, you guys, as you can tell, this dough has clearly increased in size, and I am using it. I'm putting it now on a cutting board, and I'm using it to separate it out. And I'm actually separating out into 8 little, 8 dough balls, or maybe I'm going with 6. No, I'm going with 6. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is when you will get the dough and you will just try to work them into balls. You're going to kind of do that process, kind of that folding, like where you kind of pull in, pull out, pull in of the dough and kind of spread it around and kind of make it into a ball and just kind of form it inside itself. That way the skin kind of stretches and traps on it. You've probably seen me do this multiple times. I'm sorry I'm not getting better angles right now. I'm going to improve on those in the future. I got a new camera stand, but as you can see, you see how the balls are kind of tucked in. There's going to be other videos. I'm going to try to link other videos of other people showing off how you're necessarily supposed to do it to kind of help out. But that being said, I'm going to try to make a video in the future to kind of show you how you're supposed to manipulate dough balls. But now this is the final step. You get your dough balls and you set them on parchment paper, and then you just kind of let them sit in the fridge for 6 to 8 hours, another 6 to 8 hours. You will let this happen, and once you're done with that, you are good and primed to go. I typically freeze my dough balls for a couple days, and they will last in the freezer for at least 2 to 3 months. I just take them out, defrost them in the fridge, and once I'm ready for them, I will once they are back to a doughy consistency, I will roll them out, and I'll either make a thin crust or I'll make a thick crust, and I'll go from there. Now I'm going to show you guys some of the pizzas I've made, and just want you guys to have an awesome rest of your day. Leave any comments with me, and we will go from there. All right, putting them in the fridge for 6 to 8 hours, and this is how I put them in the freezer. Let me know if you have any questions or anything, you guys, and I appreciate your support as always. Bon appetit.